InShalla and Ashe. Whoopsie. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. Just checking in to see if you can feel the juice today. It's feeling a little, I'd say it's pretty juicy. It's kind of sometimes feels like a cosmic hiccup. But, a juicy feeling can kind of perk us up, especially through our heart center. Maybe something juicy is the venue of optimism for you, and the door to the juice is really opening up. But welcome to the Daily Snippet. I am Tonya D, holistic Sha'medium and subtle energy surgeon, and my eyes are really red, so I thought I'd wear my shades. And of course the hat, because I didn't want to do my hair. Go figure. But today really is, my energy is just about merging the indigenous with the energetic fields, a couple of different pathways there. But I must say it's super juicy. And I really feel like there's even a song about juiciness. I hope it's not a gone down the rabbit hole kind, but I feel like there's a song about the juice. But the elements, I kind of said yesterday what the elements were with this galactic new moon, the galactic juice. There we have them. It's kind of like the ping pong with the earth. I'm not going to dive into the hour much. I guess I could. But yeah, we've got like this water, total water direction, which is our peace and our emotions, right? But there's that ping pong of earth. So we have this tic-tac-toe board going on, yin earth, yang earth. But I kind of want to explore the animal of the day a little bit further. The dog, it's like ready to explore a wish, a dream that our heart really desires on the inside and the outside. And the doors are like opening up to be ready to grab the wave and surf in those waters that are actually more mystical and also more magical. Just allowing the universe, Goddess herself, to be the storm of that vital energy. But either way, we have this elemental day of this yang fire dog, a Bing Zhu. I like the Bing days. I don't know why. I think I got some bings and some dings on my stems myself. But the energy of the dog kind of sucks the life out of the fire of the day. But the dog has that storage of fire, and it's put that fire in storage kind of away from it as kind of a control. And the yin earth on the year and the ox and the yin earth on the stem of the month, those are like two juicy ones. Yin earth is performance and output for a fire daymaster. So the fire person has some passion about earthy ideas, earth professions, earthly behaviors, earthly characters. And the dog, the dog itself might not be a loyal dog because we have two of the same element, the yang. Now, if it was a yang fire, that would be different below the yang fire, two yang fires. That would be the horse. But the dog is a different energy, and the dog wants to be intimate. However, they're totally afraid of intimacy. So if you know anyone that has the dog, either in the year, the month, the day, or even the hour, we all have this energy somewhere, but you might notice this more about them up front. But the hour, that's kind of where this plays out. But even though the dog's afraid of intimacy, they're ferociously territorial. They bark loudly to scare us away. And that's kind of the energy of this dog. Honestly, they're just scared of connecting with another human being or another being in general. Could be even a wereme, an animal. So they find a reason to get kind of heavy and scare us off and kind of return to their sanctuary, which would be kind of like the doghouse where no one enters their space. It's their own personal doghouse. No one gets in without permission. But you could easily get in the doghouse. Has anybody ever been in the doghouse? Whoops, can't see my hand. So, the dog can, no one gets in the doghouse if you don't live by their societal standards. So this dog energy can be morally kind of uptight, highly judgmental about other people's lifestyles. And they're not really circumspect, and also they're conservative in a weirder kind of way. And they tend to marry infrequently, not very often. And they're going to go for extended periods of time between relationships, which is kind of strange, actually, because, if you think about a dog, they're so loyal and lovable and unconditional. but their love doesn't seem to be reciprocated. It's kind of like one-sided. So it's really hard for them to find a new relationship. Even with the other animals, it's harder for the dog's energy. But what they don't really realize is that, they push people away because their energetic field, instead of attracting them. So it kind of goes like the mind, Mercury, having to merge with our emotions, the moon, and then it becomes one. So it's being mindful of our feelings, and also the same for that outer rim or that outer field. So to be truly open and intimate, which is actually the quest of the dog's energy. So when the dog achieves this alchemy, this alchemizing union, they're truly a complete person. They become whole. But at some point, this energy, the dog, has truly stepped up into the fire of the day and realized that they are actually the alchemizer, if that makes sense. That's why the dog is, I am intimate. That should really be the affirmation and their mantra. A lot of times, just shifting one little word in our belief system changes our entire story. Every day I say I'm doing great. Tell everyone they're doing great. Whether I'm laughing or not, I'm still doing great. But what's curious is with the energy of the dog, it's the pericardium, the heart protector. This is like this membrane sac that actually protects our heart center. And it oftentimes, it doesn't matter who we are, it takes a lot of blows, frequent blows. And, over time and space, that normally wears down our heart. And to protect us in an emotional kind of clinching kind of way. And not only does it have to do with intimate encounters, but really even how comfortable we are in groups or even other social interactions or activities. So people who have this pathway really prominent, they frequently have cold extremities, like their hands and their feet. And they might even complain about having cold hands and feet. But they're the ones that are always bundled up, as I recognize them in my sweater. My house is always cold. It's a thing. Hot in the winter, cold in the winter, hot in the summer. But, that energy, other people might think it's just a little bit chilly, but they're always cold. So their body tends to be more cold and also restrictive. So we have lots of yin energy, and we also have just a little bit of yang there. So, it's an action kind of movement kind of day, but their body energetically, the dog, tends to be cold and more restrictive. And that's why they tend to shy away from intimacy, or just frequently finding themselves filled kind of with regret or remorse, especially as they get older and taking a chance on love, when it was offered. They do this reflection thing. And it even has different kind of issues because of not self-loving. Really, it goes down to self-love and self-intimacy as well. It's kind of both, kind of in a weird way. But the dog in itself needs to become more open and trusting and loyal in order for those barriers to really come down and allow people to come in so they can have that intimacy. So even just to become fully, totally intimate with another person, as well as interacting with others. So the dog, the energy, needs to learn to come forward when meeting somebody and not retreating. So again, everybody has this energy somewhere in their chart. This energy, mostly it plays out in the time of our birth energetically, but that's where we're going to find ourselves being more modest or withdrawn. So this is really where we have to kind of forge that intimacy. I always see like a knife, like I watch articles, so I watch these guys forge and make swords and things, but you have to forge that intimacy, whether it's in a personal relationship or just literally speaking before a coliseum of people, a full coliseum, like you're on the stage speaking your juicy juice. So, with all the juice today, the juice of the juice, we should really learn to be in love with ourselves first, so that our chalice, that chalice of emotion, I wish I had that card, or I wish I had a cool chalice, but so that love flows over into our outer world and into the realms from our inner world. And then we kind of attract the love of that chalice. So this true juicy alchemized energy, flows in and over. So we can really ask our heart, what do I identify with within my heart space? And really, what does it have any common ground with what I feel, like the heart and our feelings? So when the two kind of identify, earth forms, creating forms, something, it really unites these fields. And then we have this expansion energy in consciousness in our field that's actually galactic super juicy. So we grow and we learn and we have these aha bigger sensations. So if you stay in the closet or under the rug, you won't be in the flow due to the unfamiliar or the uncomfortableness of that emotion that's kind of bubbling up or kind of seeping out of the thread lines of the closet. So really kind of feel into the juice today. Sometimes when we feel uncertain or afraid, it's the emotion that kind of has that answer, that we can sit with it and just flow into the emotion, especially we've got a water direction, the north energy there. Just be more loving to the feelings and just imagine swaddling up that emotion, that feeling, like you would a newborn. Or for me, Sir Didymus, I love to cuddle his little self. Just kind of giving the nectar of love, otherworldly nectar. So really get out of the closet today. Don't be shy. Investigate. Be curious. Ask questions. I've been staying curious through this whole experience for the last few years, staying curious and questioning everything. But curiosity really is the key that we all have to access our deeper, higher, intuitive, Sira, conscious self, what we look like on the other side. So it's just, really staying curious and asking the questions and play with your own curiosity. And, it just really might be otherworldly opening for us. So by the way, Voices of the Other World is out the gate. I'll be sharing that all over the place, I'm sure. It's going to be some galactic fun. I prefer that, especially when we're going otherworldly, with some cosmic juice as well. So really be in your container today. Be embodied and feel into your feelings and, just notice how other people even affect your feelings, Are they squishing in? I'm a reflector, so my auric field is more squishy pushy. So it's like giving things time and space, right? Are you in your body or are you floating around in space to escape a feeling? That happens a lot. And, what is the emotional security to you? We kind of know what security is in the physical, but what is the emotional channel of security, that foundation of those emotions, Do you have a belief about how your life should feel? Things usually come in the magical number of 3s. So don't be surprised if you get a magic map today or an otherworldly tree to explore, the tree of knowledge, the tree of wisdom. It might be worth the adventure and the journey to really explore. You just might see something that you've actually never seen before. Could be super exciting and otherworldly at the same time. So bring in the artist inside of you outside, go paint, go create, grab some chalk and create on the sidewalk. So with our third eye opening today, it's online. Jupiter, the benevolent juice there as well. I love dark hues of purples and violets and dark blues, indigos, stuff like that. The galactic, it's like when stuff is so dark, you can see the hue of purples and blues and even pinks kind of come in. And for our element today, go to the glorious old wise tree, the wisdom of the tree. The corporate concrete jungle has really destroyed my trees. It's really quite depressing. Maybe that's why my eyes are sad. Just had that epiphany. Anyway, the corporate concrete jungle seriously has destroyed my wall of trees, all in the name of what they call growth, right? The wrong kind of growth. Money cannot ever buy our health. And the foundation and the tower is going to fall. Honestly, I'm super excited for Pluto to hit the natal return of the United States. the tower itself is going to collapse. It's going to be super juicy and magical. But the sound of wood or fire, so we have the swish or the shishing of the child and the ha, along with, for me, excuse me, the sound of silence. I love the sound of silence, the Om channel. And you could Om, but I prefer just the sound of tuning into nature. And you can connect with your visual broadcast center of color, the broadcast system, because we're kind of in a place to create magical miracles and pour love into our chalice and love into our feelings. Sit at our cosmic altar, create an altar in the other realms if you don't have one, and really add more of that golden love nectar juice. Pray to the goddess, the mother and the father god, the galactic center for your wishes, your dreams. It could even be a fantasy to come true. As you kind of expand your list, it's like doing this breathing kind of immersion. But be mindful of what you fear at the same time, because sometimes our imagination sometimes can be cruel, taking us down the rabbit hole. So if it's imagined totally, sometimes that's fearing, but challenge our fears. That's kind of how I see that. Be present, take a breath, take a pause, flick it away. The mind is kind of our octave for filing our experiences and our thoughts. So just be in your center, heart-centered, or your solar plexus, whatever works best for you, and really be in your zone of neutrality. But the stone of the day, I brought in black tourmaline. I don't know if I've ever chatted about black tourmaline. Ooh, let me get rid of that. Juicy juice. Oh, I'm doing great today. Hang on. There I am. Let me get rid of that. Things are all over the place. Ding. There we go. Okay, so black tourmaline, cracking myself up. This is really a solid grounding root center stone, but it also sends divine energy from our root to actually rise up. So being dark and powerfully protected, it just makes sure that we are forever protected. I think it's just a magical stone for our boundaries, quite frankly. But it also helps us feel safe and solid and having that sure stance in the physical world. But it also helps us to move out of survival mode and into deeper wisdom and even that higher thinking. I should have maybe found a stone for the moon, but it is what it is. So it's part of the tourmaline family. And even, it's just like be gone negative energy. It seems to strip of any color. It's very powerful for those of us that need to wear a constant cloak of protection. It's potent. It's this inky black with strong grounding forces. And this jet-colored stone is just known for being a swallower of negative energies. So it's, it just helps the wearer to be absolved of those dark feelings, turning those anxious vibrations into positive spin that nurture our soul. And just being deeply connected to the base centers, actually, those earthly roots that help us to feel safe and secure as we, gravitate and move around on the earth plane. When our root center is beautifully balanced and in check, this grants us this deep-seated self-confidence, our solar plexus, to embrace who we really are, speak our truth, and just go out on our own path to heal in our spiritual foundation. The stone can really pave the way. It's come from the far-flung corners of the entire universe here. The lush jungles of Brazil's Amazon, the mountains that are in Pakistan, and even the waves of close to Maine in the United States. But it was actually found in the year 1400s, deep in the rugged heart of the Saxony, Germany, where this dreamy piece of darkness was picked up to an old tin mine. But since then, it's traveled a long way in our consciousness and just has these unique properties that make up protective stone for keeping just bad energy away. Maybe just put it at your front door, to keep all the unsorty peeps out. It's really as dark as the night, kind of looks like a sledgehammer to a volcano. It's cool to touch. It's got some juicy ridges and furrows. But yeah, it's just this earth. It carries the energy of the earth. It kind of feels a little fire energy, volcanic to me at the same time. But it has many benefits as well. Let's see here. Let's go with, oh yeah, it protects us from EMFs. It blocks it away. It can, if you're dealing with negative people, it'll shoo them away. If you're worried about the environment, it's like wearing our own shield with a little swagger of positive energy every time that we step out at the same time. So it does, it's the two sides of the same coin. As far as healing, just being a grounding stone, it keeps us rooted in our root center. So really, if you have issues with manifesting whatever it is you want to create, the stone being the root center, that's where we manifest. Bring that in and, light your own inner fire. It's even just being connected, not just to the root center, but also the earth star. It's just going to make us feel safe and be in a cloak of protection. It protects us from, psychic vampires and attacks. It's just a magical stone, quite frankly. I think I have quite a few all around the place. Let me get out of here, though. I don't know if it's my glasses why I can't see or just the situation. Oh, look at me. I'm doing great. Okay, so now the cards of the day. I actually went with my Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, which I love these cards. But the first card is the Holy Mountain, and that's just a magical card. We can, it's the message of the Holy Mountain. And it looks like it's got the sun sparkling right there, possibly the moon on top of it. I'm not sure. But the essence, around, I would say, indigenous people around the world, we, recognizing that mountains have great power and they also have beings in the mountains, right? There's a different kind of energy and a spirit of the mountain. This is like where gods and goddesses kind of reside. Even in ancient Greece, Mount Olympus, the gods, the 12 main gods and goddesses for Mount Olympus. But even in other areas of the world, in Tibet, they walked around the Mount Kailash, not sure I'm saying that right, to bring prosperity. So it's like a pilgrimage. And in Peru, the mountain of Ostangate, to receive the starlight. That's like star beings to me, and to bring fire to the earth, the otherworldly energies. But I really associate mountains with all of the wonders of like the dragons, the turtles, the tigers, the white tiger, and the phoenix, the rise of the phoenix from the fire of the ash. But this holy mountain is kind of inviting us to go on our own sacred pilgrimage and to acquire our own personal vision and also an otherworldly or a higher mountain perspective. So first, we need to kind of accept the present situation that we're in as an opportunity to really discover an elevated, higher understanding perspective and really find and create our own personal sacred altar. So, and just kind of threading into those who came before us, their wisdom. And literally, we can pray and we can find this wisdom within ourselves, making offerings. I did a bunch of offerings last night. That's probably why my eyes are red, plus some other stuff. But just making a commitment to walk in our own path of courage and love and light and compassion until we see the glasses through the eyes of God with clarity. So that's kind of perfection of all of the things, and just recognizing that everything is actually perfect as it is, in its own story, its own Stargate. And then I pulled corn. So for me, corn actually represents not just sustenance and energy. I do offerings with that, but also the season of summer, the harvest of the corn. And corn is like the mother of sustenance. It has a lot of juicy energy to it. It's this tangible, grabbing abundance, but it's a symbol that really represents material prosperity in the world of form that really provides us that stability, like the black tourmaline. And also, sustenance in general. What does that look like? There's a variety of meanings to sustenance, right? and just knowing that, there is more than enough, which I find also curious. But we can plant this beautiful field of our dreams and our wishes, especially when we're working hard at it, constantly plowing our field and kneading our own personal dough. Even, sometimes when we might be losing faith and losing those thread lines and the energy to create and manifest, but we still, we still continue on the journey, whatever that looks like. But the spirit of the corn really comes to honor us because everything has a spirit within it, whatever that is. But the corn is showing us this bountiful harvest. We've got a sun in the background. This reminds me of summer. So I'm wondering if, yeah, we're in Sagittarius, so summer, Gemini, Earth is that right now. So that's kind of a thing. But this is really a time to reap the rewards of our bounty, our hard work, and just trust in ourselves. Rewards could be financial or different kinds of prosperity measured more from quality rather than quantity. And I prefer quality any day over quantity. But just knowing that we are all blessed when this magical symbol, this corn, appears. And I actually have some corn stock growing in my front yard. Totally hilarious. And if you haven't watched Secondhand Lions, I highly recommend that, but totally different story there. But just don't forget to share your good bounty, your good fortune, whatever your abundance is with those around you in the village, those that come underneath your sacred tree. And then I have the Rainmaker, which I love this. She almost looks like she's got angelic wings kind of sprouting off of her. But this is the master of manifestation. So it's this energy that we can all call on the elemental realms of nature, not just the elements in the earth plane, but the galactic nature elementals as well that serve the galactic greater good, really. So we have this power to create, especially when we use it with integrity and it's in alignment. And then there's this galactic effervescent beauty where there's a higher benefit that's flowing through these streams to every body, to everyone that's getting, it's just getting into the flow of those streams. So when this power is used for just our own personal gain only, then the village suffers. And that's kind of when the rabbit hole starts. Let's go with that. So when the earth herself, is like dried up and she's parched, needs a drink, this is when this energy of this Rainmaker calls in the waters from the heavens, the gods and the goddesses, and all that's dormant, laying barren in the fields. And also in our hearts, if our heart center is feeling barren, dried up, it springs to life again. It gets the vitality, the rain, I love the great smell of it. Awesome rain. I can smell a storm a day or two before it lands. It's kind of curious. But, I just love dancing in a rainstorm. Super fun. Or sleeping outside under the canopy when it rains. But we're being invited by the Rainmaker, the energy of it. It's really calling us to create something new from the elements that we already have around our village, in our life, in our day-to-day. We all have talents naturally. We all contain our own natural innate talents. So just be sure that you work with what you already have and what you already is, not with what might be or could have been. Sometimes, we can should have ourselves today, and we just don't need to do that. We can should have ourselves to death, really. And we just need to pull that word really out of our vocabulary. So the seeds, the corn, it can start the birth and the growth, like gaining momentum in our heart space and bursting forth, just being the juice, ready for the sunlight. So it's really not a time to really hold back our energy. It's time to, have faith and put the juice in the galactic divine universe and watch how it all plays out in our favor. It's like the juicy and the juicier, a form of otherworldly manifestations when we put our faith in the elements and the elementals, those elemental beings. So be sure to join me for Voices of the Other World. It's going to be so much fun and galactic. It's going to be this magic immersion. I'm totally excited about it. But so with the juice in our heart and our feelings just overflowing in our chalice, our personal chalice, I would really affirm that the magical being that resides within you and really start believing in yourself and trusting in your feelings, where your heart and your feelings are juicing it up together, adding some flavor, a new ingredient. So feelings really are juicy and they get the love juice flowing in that otherworldly chalice. So just make it a blessed and grateful day. And again, InShalla, Ashe, I will see you on the other side. Blessings and yeah, just make it all magical. Enjoy the juice.